In agribusiness today, 2014 could bring a turnaround for cotton acreage. As prices for corn, sorghum, and wheat sink, acres could shift into cotton, at least in Texas. Our partners at AgWeb posted a story about the potential for increased acreage. John Robinson, a cotton specialist with Texas A&M, says cotton acres in 2014 could increase to 11 million from the 10.3 million acres that we saw this year. AgWeb says U.S. cotton acres began dropping from previous year levels back in 2007 and hit a low in 2009. Prices began rising in 2010 and then peaked at more than $2 a pound in 2011. Those rising prices encouraged some shifting of acres into cotton back in 2010 and 11, but by 2012, cotton acres had once again given way to other crops.
This first special report is brought to you by Pancho Votivo from Bayer Crop Science Seed Growth. Get treated, get growing.
Welcome back. We're joined this morning by Joe Bruce. He's General Manager of First Farmers Independent Research of Seed Technology. Joe, you've been in a couple years in the past here. We've done this a few times. You basically have test plots around the country that you look at different products to find out how they're yielding. And these are in farmers' fields, so it's kind of the situations that you normally put these products in, right?
Right. Yeah, we're definitely not trying to pick out garden spots where we're going to get the high-end yield. This is your typical scenario the farmer has.
Right. So let's talk about 2013. Pretty good challenge out there for people in places, but we also saw some pretty good yields in places.
Yeah, this year was a huge challenge with the early season wet conditions, delayed planting. In fact, we had locations that couldn't get planted because the rain just kept persisting. But once we did get things planted, and a lot of locations weren't planted until June, the yield that we saw, I would never have guessed. Just phenomenal yields that came out of our test.
Really? What did you see this year?
Well, we had areas that I didn't expect that did very well were Indiana, central and northern Indiana, the mid-Atlantic area of Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland.
Oh, really?
Typically, those areas have more challenging soils, that they're not too far away from a drought whenever the rain stops. But this year, the rain just kept coming at the right time. And in Indiana, for example, we had two locations there that phenomenal yields. That we had 40 products in total across all of our tests. 40 products went over 300 bushels per acre.
Wow!
And prior to this year, you may only see one or two products that would have a 300 bushel yield in it. So just unbelievable. We've never seen this kind of performance.
Unreal. Wow, 300 bushels. What about lows, though? I mean, we had some rough spots out there, too.
We did have some rough spots in areas that would be in northern portion of Missouri, get into east central Kansas. They didn't get as much rain, and their yields got to be in just barely making 100 bushels on average in our tests. And that was pretty tough for them. And just you could tell pollination didn't happen timely, and things didn't work out well.
Right. You talked a little bit about trouble getting started. How did yields come out on some of those late planted products?
Yes, in north central Iowa and southeast Missouri, very late planting, and the yields, they were in the 200 bushel range. We honestly did not think that there would be a chance that we'd see that kind of yield come out, but it was outstanding. In fact, several folks that, we were planting later maturities that you normally wouldn't plant considering the calendar date, and yet it matured. It had very good 200 bushel yields, and no one expected that to happen.
Real quick, is it that our technology is getting that much better? Are we better farmers? Why are we seeing this kind of historic jump in your perspective?
It's a number of factors. Yes, the products are getting better. Technologies are helping to make things work better. But I think that the Mother Nature was the biggest factor. Once we finally were able to plant, we didn't have a lot of high heat situations to put a lot of stress on the crop. Ample moisture. Even though it was dry the last half of the year, we had enough moisture in the soil profile already, coupled with the moderate temperatures, that the crop wasn't stressed, and it produced a lot of yield as a result of that.
All right. Well, it's pretty impressive yields this year. Thanks for sharing your information. We'll bring you back, and we'll talk soybeans next time. We'll be back with more in just a moment.